Hello, welcome to Frida Pups. Today we're learning about the four types of friction. Friction is the force resisting the relative motion of solid surfaces, fluid layers, and material elements sliding against each other. There's four types of friction: static friction, sliding friction, rolling friction, and fluid friction. Static friction happens when an object is not moving and is touching a surface. This friction keeps the object from sliding or moving on the surface it's resting on. For example, static friction is what keeps a block from sliding or moving on the table when it's not being pushed or pulled. Static friction is the force that prevents an object from moving when it's at rest on a surface. It holds objects in place until an external force exceeds its maximum limit. This force varies based on the surface materials and the object's weight. For example, a heavy block on a rough surface experiences greater static friction, preventing it from sliding until enough force is applied. Next, sliding friction. Sliding friction is a type of friction that happens when two objects slide past each other. For example, when you pull a block, sliding friction takes over. Sliding friction is the force that resists motion as the block slides across a surface, and it's generally less than static friction. This is why it's usually easier to keep an object moving than start its motion. For instance, sliding friction acts against a block being pulled across a table, providing resistance that influences movement and balance. Rolling friction is a type of friction that occurs when a round object, like a ball or wheel, rolls over a surface. For example, the surfaces of the bowling ball and the surface of the bowling lane have tiny bumps and ridges that rub against each other and create friction. It occurs with round objects, like balls or wheels, as they roll over surfaces. This type of friction is typically lower than sliding friction and is impacted by material properties and the radius of the rolling object. For instance, larger wheels on bicycles reduce rolling friction, enhancing efficiency. And finally, fluid friction. Fluid friction is a type of friction that happens when an object moves through a fluid, such as air or water. For example, when a parachute is open, it creates air resistance and slows you down. The air is fluid, and it creates a force that resists your motion through it. The resistance encountered depends on the object's shape, speed, and fluid properties. For example, a parachute creates significant air resistance to slow descent. Understanding these four types of friction helps improve overall movement efficiency